everyone. Welcome to another episode of Simply Nerdy. I'm your host, Steven. I'm joined today by David and Anthony.
Hello.
Hey, everyone.
We are here to talk about Metroid Prime Remastered because it was a shadow drop in the most recent Nintendo Direct, and holy crap, did it look good. But we, almost all of us, except for David, purchased it day one for digital. David was very patient, got it physical, but we've all three of us have at least played it. Anthony's beat it, and we're David and I are right behind him. But but anyway, we just want to give you our thoughts of the game. So let's open it up.
First of all, I want to say that I have had lots of time to question my decision to wait for the physical version.
The patience was thinning. We could hear it.
Yeah. I mean,
it wasn't easy.
There were people who immediately pre-ordered the game, the physical version, after the Direct, right? From Amazon or from wherever. And recently, Amazon has been sending messages to people that it's delayed by a whole month at least. End of March, early April, people's Amazon pre-orders are getting delayed or even canceled. I don't know, that's something worth mentioning here, is that there's right now, people are having trouble getting their physical copies. I was lucky. And anyone who wanted the physical copy but doesn't have it yet, I wish you luck. Hope you don't have to wait too much longer.
So, yeah. I want to start by just dropping my first impressions, and they basically carried through the entire time I played. I don't know how they pulled this game off, because
Absolutely.
It is. I mean, we've seen some incredible ports that, seem like technical marvels, and yet they're still having to cut obvious corners, in certain spots. But not this game. And, someone's probably going to be out there saying, you don't know what you're talking about. And you know what? You're right. I don't. I'm not a pixel counter. But this game immediately impressed me with how incredible it looks. I could convince myself that this wasn't a Switch exclusive game, just based on the visuals alone. But then on top of that, buttery smooth 60 frames per second, never the slightest hitch. I can't think of a single time. I don't know how they did it, but it is fantastic. And now I'm just sitting here being like, where's your excuses? All those other people, there's probably some sort of technical wizardry there. The people will probably say, well, the lots of closed environments in Metroid Prime, they don't have to render as much, and okay, maybe that's what it is. But all I know is we've seen games, similar styles of games come to the Switch and not look half so good or perform so well. So I don't know how they did it, but it's incredible.
This is absolutely the best looking Nintendo Switch game.
That's what I think.
If they revealed this game and this is what Metroid Prime 4 looked like, I would have been like, yeah, this looks wonderful. I would have been completely happy. So it's crazy to think this is a 20-year-old game that looks like this, that looks so amazing. Could have easily been convinced it was a brand new game. So,
well, and it kind of feels like it is. I mean, there's some design sensibilities that maybe in some ways feel a little antiquated, because they those are still 20 years old. But at the same time, I don't know. It feels fresh all over again to me.
Oh,
and,
absolutely.
I have to say, the twin stick controls, just like a glove fitting a hand. I started off with that and I'm like, oh my gosh. It was funny to me to realize, this remaster that just came out is maybe the real first time that, I suppose Corruption did do a pretty good job of it. Anyway, it feels like a real first person shooter now. It just works so well.
It does, and that's what I wanted to talk about, is the controls, because they gave us, the players, so many different options. You go with the original controls if you really wanted to. I don't recommend it, because
I don't know why you would.
Like Anthony was saying, the dual stick, it feels so good. And then David made a good point. I'll let him probably make it here in just a second, but the dual stick with the gyro, money.
That's what I've ended up using. And it's funny because I can't really play Splatoon because the gyro and aiming in that is too much for me, but I've mostly been playing Metroid Prime Remastered in handheld, And for some reason, just having the screen close to me with the gyro aiming, it doesn't feel too shaky. Like, it feels perfect. So it feels like the perfect combination, the more I played the game, between the dual stick controls and some of the freedom that you had with Metroid Prime 3.
There's something else I wanted to bring up real quick, and that's something that I don't think Nintendo touched on much in the Direct, but they have a lot of things in the gallery now that they didn't used to have before in the original or in the Prime trilogy, and that's like the remastered clip art or the remastered what do they call it? It's not clip art. It's concept art. Yeah, the concept art for the remastered version as well. They even have the soundtrack in here, guys. I don't know if you knew that. I even searched the menus. They have the soundtrack in there. But it made me so happy. I was like, oh, this, because you guys, Metroid Prime music was it still is solid, and it sounds. I don't know if they had to really do anything much to the music. It still sounds great.
Nintendo, they don't tend to shadow drop their biggest games. They like to shadow drop announcements, but of course that depends on your definition of shadow dropping. My definition is, you told us 3 months before it's going to come out that it even exists. I don't know. Anyway, but
yes,
they don't do that with releases, especially for their flagship series. And maybe, some people would say Metroid isn't one of those because it has historically struggled in sales. But, at least in terms of iconic, how iconic it is, I think it's up there. It's up in the upper pantheon of their IPs. So, it's really... The way I interpret it and the way I think that it's going over is, I think this is one of the best possible ways to drum up excitement and interest in the Metroid series in advance of Metroid Prime 4, because they've kind of let the word on that one die for a long time, and maybe that was the right, because it was completely restarted and back in, I think it was January 2019, so it was probably best they didn't have much to say, but it's exciting to me because what it looks like is Nintendo is bringing out all the stops to really give Metroid the shot in the arm it needs in preparation for this big new release, and it's working. I mean, I guess I don't know how well it's selling in terms of overall numbers, but and I imagine that there's. We've been discussing this a little bit. I feel like Nintendo probably underestimated demand and didn't make enough, and that was part of the woes for the people going after the physical copies. Looks like you have something to say there, David.
I'm just nodding. I'm agreeing. I'm pretty sure they underestimated the demand for the physical copy, and
that's what it looks like to me.
And on top of that, I've seen reports of scalpers doing their thing. So
yeah,
I just hope that they didn't view this as this is the special edition, the physical. I hope they weren't treating it like a limited run. What I hope the story is that people are just buying it way more than they expected, because that would be very good for the series.
Going along with what Anthony said just a second ago, how this is the best possible case scenario for Metroid Prime 4, I completely agree. And I don't know, it totally cured my Metroid Prime itch for now. I feel like it could buy the Retro Studios more time to develop Metroid Prime 4 if we can just have a steady release of Metroid Prime games, Prime 1, 2, 3, and then pop out with 4. It could totally buy them time and make it Metroid Prime 4 the most polished Metroid Prime game yet.
Well, and just give them also plenty of time to make people really, really super interested, because, up to this point, Metroid Prime 4 has been just a giant number in space, and that's it. And so, I had gotten to the point, even, and I'm a huge Metroid fan, but I had gotten to the point where I was like, I guess it's something I want eventually. But I have a hard time picturing it ever happening in my head right now. And so, but they dropped this, and all of a sudden my interest is completely, peaked out again. I thoroughly enjoyed everything they did with the remaster. I'm really hoping that the rumor that they're not doing the same treatment to 2 and 3 is false, but I guess if it isn't, then oh well. It's made me really excited for the other two in the original trilogy as well. That's in large part due to just how good they did with this first entry, and just showing me that they're going to show this series some serious love. All I know is that if Metroid Prime 4 looks anything like Metroid Prime, it's going to be a dang good game.
My confidence is like through the roof that like this is in good hands, right? This series, Metroid, the Retro Studios know what they're doing. They know how to make a good first-person Metroid game. But look what they did here. If they can do this, if this is what they can accomplish, then yeah, it's just fine on the Switch.
I'm perfectly okay at this juncture for them to stick with the current Switch if it's going to look that dang good.
The best looking game and the best performing game.
Yes.
I don't know how they did it. Like I started with, I don't know how they did it. But I played it, and I can affirm that it happened. And technical wizardry to the extreme. Anyway,
I think it's safe to say that here at Simply Nerdy, we give Metroid Prime Remastered a 10 out of 10.
I would say so.
Solid. Yeah. If we could give it more, we would. Give it a 12 out of 10. What we're saying is, what are you waiting for?
Nintendo knows they need to sell this game, and they are doing a dang good job, which is, I sometimes I'm a bit of a Nintendo apologist, because there's some decisions they make where I'm just like, why? No, why? Anyway, this isn't one of them. This is almost anti weird Nintendo decision making.
It's one of those. It's one of those like very too rare of times where they did like almost everything right for the fans. Like, I think it's safe to say the majority of Metroid fans are super happy. Like they just the $40 price point, the amazing remaster that wasn't just some lazy slight upscaling of resolution, and the control options.
Yes, exactly. Go buy the game. What are you waiting for? It's so good. We at Simply Nerdy give it a 10 out of 10, but we'd also love to hear what you think of Metroid Prime Remastered down in the comments below. And if you like this video, if you like this video, please give us a like and subscribe. We are working toward 1,000 subscribers this year, and any subscriber will help us out a ton. And we love creating content for you. It's a butt ton of fun. So anyway, until next time, guys, keep it nerdy.